So for this class, you will be writing a literary analysis essay. And the way that you're going to be doing that is by utilizing claim data backing tools. You've probably used these tools under other names in other classes. And I wanted to provide for you a really clear and concise way of understanding what we're expecting from you when we're asking you to write argumentatively. And this is really a fail-safe guide to writing argumentatively. It can be changed for writing in science, in history, in speech class, really somewhere where you are trying to prove a point. This can be used. So why are we even learning this? What's the point? Argumentative writing really helps you think critically. So when you are forced to write something down in a pattern, especially if you practice that pattern over time, you will begin to start to think that those things are connected. So for example, if you are required to prove your point on a regular basis using information, using data, then you're going to become a lot better at arguing. And that's not meaning that you're just really good at being annoying because you're fighting with people all the time, but you're able to prove points that need to be proved. And that's really an important thing. So critical thinking is essential for life and for most jobs. And also written communication is an essential skill in the workforce, especially with COVID-19, we have so many jobs being done from home. And so not only is your ability to communicate orally important still, but your ability to communicate in writing is super important as well. So times that you could use these skills, you're writing a proposal for your company to make a purchase. My husband just had to do this for his job in telecommunications. It's something that you have to do. You're explaining to your parents why you should be allowed to do something. If you can back your claim with data and explain why they should let you do that thing, you might be more likely to get to do it. You're writing a cover letter for a job application, adding relevant experience to back up the skills you claim to possess. So if you're doing a job application and all you give them is, I have these skills, but they have no information as to know where you got those skills, why you have those skills, that is going to be relevant information to add to your cover letter. So these are just a few examples of real life situations where you might want to use these types of things. Now, the first thing that we need to know is we need to define our terms. So our first term is a claim, and a claim is a debatable statement. This means you could prove a point about it. It's also called a thesis statement. So a thesis statement and a claim are the same thing, but if someone makes a claim, we generally think that that's something that needs to be proved. If I say, oh, she claimed this, then I'm adding some doubt into what it was that she said, which means that she would need to provide some information for me to decide if I'm going to believe that or not. And that's really what you're doing with your reader. You are providing for them, this is the thing that I claim, and here's why you should believe what I'm telling you you should believe. Now, it's really tricky sometimes to figure out the difference between a claim and an opinion. A claim, here's an example. Chocolate ice cream is the best type of ice cream because people are proven to like sweet and bitter tastes together. Now, we also need to know what an opinion is in order to be able to tell the difference. So, an opinion. I love chocolate ice cream and no one should eat anything else. So, why is this a claim and why is this an opinion? If you notice here, chocolate ice cream is the best type. This provides an argumentative phrase. I'm not just saying that it is good. I'm not just saying that it is my favorite. I'm saying it is the best type, which obviously not everyone agrees on, so it needs to be proved. Then I add a because statement. Why is it that it is the best ice cream? This claim requires some reasoning to go with it. Here, I love chocolate ice cream and no one should eat anything else. Okay, whoops, sorry. I thought that I was pausing my recording and I was actually skipping through slides, so I need to figure out my taskbars here. So we have two different parts here. Now, one, I love chocolate ice cream. That is an opinion. I cannot prove that I love it, except that maybe I eat it a lot, but that's not something that can be proved. That's a feeling. No one should eat anything else. This one might look like a debatable statement, but there's no way to prove that. And so that's not going to be a good claim either. So a good claim is something here that is arguable, it's debatable, and it can actually be proven. Now here, because it can be proven, that requires that it be proven. And how we're going to prove that is using data. So data is a super essential element. Data proves your claim. It's what supports your side of the debate. So we have a lot of different types of data. We can use statistics, graphs, even pictures at times. We can use quotes. We can use expert opinions, which means we could be using interviews. We could be using someone's journal. There's all sorts of different ways that we could be using data, and a lot of the data fall under here. You might even have certain essays in which your own personal experience can be used as data, depending on the type of paper that you're writing. Now, the last part we have is backing, and this is the most forgotten piece of the argumentative essay. Lots of times I have students that come to me with an excellent claim. They have excellent data, and then they conclude with a concluding sentence, but they haven't explained to me why I should believe that. And that's what backing does. It is the link that explains exactly how your data proves your claim. You do not assume that the reader can understand. If I'm your reader, pretend I'm not smart. You have to be simple and direct. So it's really important for you to explain exactly how that data proves your claim. A lot of times I like to tell students, don't assume. So for instance, I have a 2-year-old. If I tell my 2-year-old, go to the bathroom is down the hall and to the left. That's great. I have definitely given him the information to the bathroom, but I'm assuming that he can figure out how to get there, and that's an improper assumption based on his age. So you can't assume that your reader is going to be able to make the leap from your claim from your data to your claim that it proves it. And so you are not making them take that leap. You are guiding them along the path so that they don't have to take any leaps. Now, this is 1 to 2 sentences for each piece of data. How does it work? Make a claim. So the first thing you're going to do is write a debatable statement. So here we have one. The characters of the crucible are created to mimic real people. Now, how do we know that this is debatable? If we look here, we could have a wide variety of other things we could say, right? The characters of the crucible are created to show something about religion. So someone could have a different claim here, saying that they're created in a different way. We also could have someone say the characters of the crucible are not created to mimic real people. They are actually symbols. So there's different ways to disagree with this, and because it can be disagreed with and because it can be proved, it is a claim. Now, we have to prove this, and how are we going to prove this? We are going to say, A, these characters are emotional. They are flawed. They are variable. These are the different ways that we know they are like real people. So then we're going to add a because statement and put both pieces here together, and that will be our final claim. The characters of the crucible are created to mimic people because they are emotional, flawed, and variable. That is our final claim. The really amazing thing of writing your claim this way is you have literally every main idea that is going to be present in your paper, because this is the main idea of your paper. And each of these reasons, reason 1, reason 2, and reason 3, are going to become body paragraphs. And so here you have all of your ideas already figured out. There you go. Once you have your claim, you have literally every major idea in your whole paper. Your intro ends with a claim. That's going to be the last sentence in your intro. Each portion of the because statement becomes its own topic sentence for the body paragraphs. So, for example, in The Crucible, it is clear that the characters resemble real people because they are variable. So we change the wording just a little bit and we make it one of those three reasons instead of all three. And suddenly that is going to be our topic sentence for each body paragraph. Now for the data. I had to watch a lot of Star Trek growing up because my dad loves it. Okay. Adding the data. Our body paragraph will start with a topic sentence. In The Crucible, it is clear that the characters resemble real people because they are variable. Again, we slightly rephrased our claim and we limited it to only one of our three reasons because this is going to be a topic sentence. We add a quote to prove our point. We can also add a summarized example. That means not all of our data technically needs to be a quote. All of our data needs to be cited, but some of the data can be a summary where we explain in our own words what was said in the play, and we direct the reader to that part of the play by adding a citation. So here is our data. This is seen when Paris talks to Goody Ann. Anne, Tituba knows how to speak to the dead. Mr. Paris. Paris, Goody Ann, it's a formidable sin to conjure up the dead. Notice that the quote is not dropped in but attached to an intro. What I mean is here is an intro, here is a comma, here are quotation marks, and I say here the quote ends with a citation. This is our citation. Last name, page number, period. Our period does not go over here. Our period goes here at the end of our citation to remind us to add it on. So a lot of times what I get from students is something that I like to call quote plops. They just plop a quote on in there, copy, paste, done. You cannot plop a quote into a paper. You need to introduce it using your words, a comma, and then you're going to finish it up by adding a citation and a period. You're not just plopping quotes in there. The beautiful thing about this is it also gives you a few more words. So if you have a word requirement, there you go. All right, then our last step is to add backing. Again, adding backing shows how our data proves our claim. So here is our claim. In The Crucible, it is clear that the characters resemble real people because they are variable. So that means the thing that we need to prove is that these characters are variable. Our data says this is seen when Paris talks to Goody Ann. And then our quote. Now, if we look here at our quote, we're looking at things to prove our point. So if our point is that they are variable, this proves that they are variable because it tells us that Tituba could maybe be thought of as a witch. She's speaking to dead people. Paris is super upset about that. It is a formidable sin to conjure the dead. Here we have one character doing some things that might seem like witchcraft, and then we have another character who says that that is not just a sin, but a formidable sin. So that means that he feels really intensely about this. And this shows us a contrast between the two characters. Now, that's great for us because we just said that our characters are variable. And we have a contrast between Tituba and Paris. And so that means that our data proves our point. However, we need to walk our reader through this. So we say in this passage, we're referencing our data. Anne says that Tituba brings up the spirits and Paris is very upset. This proves that the characters are variable because some are more religious than others. So what we've done here is we've connected characters are variable. We're connecting back to that point that we needed to prove, and then we're showing why this proves it. This is true because of this thing about our data. And that is our completed example of claim data backing. Now, if we were going to write that into a body paragraph, this is how it would look. We would start with our attention grabber. That is the first line of our paper. The last line of our introduction is going to be our main claim. That was the one that we wrote that has our debatable statement with the 3 things we're going to write about. Then we take our claim that we used for the claim data backing example, we would take that sub-claim, meaning we have slightly reworded our original claim and taken off the other things so that we are only arguing about one thing right now, and we would put that next. Then we'd follow that up with a piece of data, a piece of backing, another piece of data proving the same thing, and backing. Then we're going to conclude that first subclaim. And then we would go on to our second subclaim and we would repeat the same pattern. Then we'd go on to our final subclaim and we would repeat the pattern one more time. Then we would have a conclusion, which would restate that main claim or thesis, and then we'd be done. So that's really a general way of how your whole paper would look. Now, this can sound super overwhelming. And so you are also going to find in the teacher pages a link to this organizer. And this is an excellent way to start figuring out that organization for your paper. So you would have that main claim here. You would have your argumentative statement, because, and then your 3 things that you're going to prove. That is your claim. Then in each of these, you would write a full sentence that would be your subclaims. Each of these would become an individual subclaim. And then you're going to just quickly write in some examples of evidence. These could be quotes, direct quotes here, or you could be like, I think I remember this part of the reading said something about this, and you could write that in and then look it up later. And then you're going to provide a conclusion statement, which is a restating of your first one. Now, I really like this one because once you have this completed, you can see this becomes most of your intro. This gives you all the information for body paragraph 1. This gives you the information for body paragraph 2 and body paragraph 3. And then you've already written a restatement of your claim, which will be your concluding statement. So once you fill out this organizer, you have so much of your paper done. You have every idea figured out, and all that you need to do now is put those into a typed document and add that backing, proofread it, and you're good to go. So my recommendation is that you fill out this graphic organizer along with making sure that you understand what claim data backing really is. And that is going to be a really great way for you to find success with this paper and also with any other argumentative papers that you work on.